Welcome back to the Lawrence Show on a Monday, heading up to Christmas. Glad to be with you. Glad to take your phone calls and your emails, and we'll get back to those in just a moment. But I want to bring on Blaze Ingoglia, who is the Republican Party chair for the state of Florida. It is good to have you on the program. Welcome to the program, and Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Merry Christmas. Thank you for having me, sir.
So what do you think of today's Electoral College vote? It appears that the only candidate who's lost some of the electors that they were entitled to was Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I read that briefly. Kind of a surprise, but not really a surprise. A lot of people wanted to change the status quo, and that's what we got with this election.
I mean, I want to ask you, too, about these allegations that our election system was hacked into, that the Russians were behind it, and that it made any difference. Does it make sense to you that there were any voters out there, or very many voters out there, who said, I'm changing my vote because I heard some of the dirty tricks that the DNC was up to because of WikiLeaks and possible Russian hacking?
No, look, I think that was all just absolute nonsense. And, we have to be clear here because the left always likes changing the definitions of things. They're saying that the election systems were hacked or the election was hacked. I think that's the lexicon that they're using. Now, a campaign, yes, was hacked, but it wasn't the election itself. The elections, I think most of the secretaries of state have systems and redundancies and backups where we knew that Donald Trump won. What I think they're trying to do, and we all allude to, we hear it on from a lot of conservatives, is they're trying to delegitimize the election, therefore delegitimize a President Trump and his administration. And hopefully, and I think a lot of people are just seeing through that.
Does this remind you at all of what happened in 2000 involving your state in particular?
No, totally different dynamic. I mean, they were fighting over every last vote and legitimate vote. Now they were just trying to delegitimize the vote itself. In the state of Florida, we have a pretty safe election system. We have optical scanners that are done on paper. So in the worst case scenario, we can always recreate our election. But, the left wants to do what they do. I personally don't think this is going to be the end of a lot of this election shenanigans. I think this is just the beginning. I think this is the start of a nationwide push for a national popular vote by the left. And what people have to realize is that is not our system of government. We were not set up by the founders that way. We are a constitutional republic. We are not a pure democracy, and states matter.
Well, and in fact, if we went to a popular vote, it would affect the person elected would effectively be the president of 5 or 6 major states, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And it would change the way everyone would campaign. Republicans would spend a lot more time in blue states. Democrats would spend a lot more time in red states. But, if you think about it, we sort of do have a popular vote system right now. It is a popular vote within the state, and that's how we were set up. Our state went 120,000 more votes to Donald Trump. Our electoral votes in Florida go to Mr. Trump, our Republican nominee. It's just how things should work. I read something interestingly that if you took California out of the mix, Donald Trump won the popular vote by, I think, 1.3 million votes. So if that doesn't tell you why the left wants a national popular vote, I don't know what does.
I'm talking to Republican Party Chair Blaze Ingoglia from Florida. So tell me this, what should we make of the fact that there were electors prior to today's Electoral College vote who were being harassed, they were being threatened, they received threatening messages by phone, by email, by other means? What should we make of the fact that there are Americans in this country, and some of them backed up to some extent, at least philosophically, by big celebrities, Hollywood celebrities who cut that PSA that was running last week that talked about urging people to violate the rules of their own state? What should we make of the fact that these are Americans who apparently saw, not the electors, but the folks urging them to change their votes, urging them to violate the commitment they'd made to the voters of their state?
Yeah, a couple of things I would say on that. The first thing that I would say is that when we got contacted as electors, a lot of it was vote for Hillary Clinton because she's the popular vote winner. So there's just a fundamental misunderstanding of what our government does and how it's set up to be. The second thing is that the tolerant left we are seeing is not that tolerant after all. Just to try to change the situation. If Hillary Clinton would have won, I really would doubt that there would be that much of an effort to try to change Democrat electors to cast over to the Republican nominee or any Republican at that point. But another thing is that, there's an absence of something happening right here. There's an absence of leadership. Hillary Clinton has gone underground. You would think that somebody who wanted to be president of the free world would actually stand up if she truly wanted to lead and say, okay, stop this nonsense. You are trying to delegitimize an election in the greatest republic in the history of this world. Stop the nonsense. Stop, the attacks. Stop harassing. Stop threatening the electors, and let's get down to governing. We did not see that, and I think that is telling about the left and Hillary Clinton.
You make a good point, and Chair Ingoglia, one of the things I raised today is on Friday, the president held what was billed as the last news conference of his presidency. Obviously, if something horrible happens between now and January 20th, God forbid, he will likely have another. But this was the last formal press conference. He had an opportunity, since he still had the bully pulpit and he had the whole country focused on what he was saying in that final news conference. He could have said, listen, let the Electoral College process work the way that the Constitution specifies. And he passed on that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a leadership vacuum when it comes to the Democrat Party. And you're seeing it now with Barack Obama, you saw it with Hillary Clinton. They missed an opportunity, the Democrat Party. And quite frankly, I'm glad that they missed the opportunity because it just shows that they continue to be tone deaf. They continue to not understand why this election went the way it went. And they continue to not understand that people are just sick and tired as business as usual in Washington, D.C. And as long as they remain tone deaf to that, our opportunity as Republicans presents itself to, now that we have control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, we have a good 2 years to show people tangible results, to show people that what we have been talking about over the last 24 months wasn't just rhetoric, that we actually, A, do care about this nation, and B, that we have better policy and we have better, we're going to create more opportunities for people. If we do that and we are successful in doing that, we can basically we can cripple the Democrat Party for a generation.
Merry Christmas to you and yours, and thanks so much for taking the time, sir.
My pleasure. Anytime. Merry Christmas to you.
And Merry Christmas to you as well. Blaise Ingoglia, who's the chair of the Republican Party of Florida. Back in just a moment. You're listening to The Lars Larson Show.